God, I sucked. I didn't have that much energy today. And, my form was off or whatever. But those negative words constantly are in my head. But when I can go back and refer to my journal, or if one of my Beachbody customers comes and say, I lost X amount of pounds, and it was because of your accountability and your motivation that helped me through that, I'm putting that down in my journal. When someone who I have never met said, I was able to make a difference in my life because of a post I saw that you put on Facebook. I put that in my journal because I know I'm making a difference in someone's life and living the dream that I want for myself and for my family.
Thank you, Janelle. Are any of you working full-time? Because I want somebody working full-time for this question. Okay, so, oh no, I'm sorry. Still working full-time in a day job. Okay. So this is, and I thought it was a great follow-up, any tips for managing one's Beachbody business and a full-time job? Because a lot of people are still in that situation.
I would love to answer that question. So I have a full-time job. My husband has a full-time job, and I've got 5 kids. And I do Beachbody full-time. It's my focus in my life right now. At one point, I do plan on not having to leave the house to go to a full-time job. But I want you all to know that you can build your Beachbody business and have a family, have a healthy relationship with your spouse, have healthy relationships with other adults, with your family, with your children, and still go to work every day and talk with people at your job and help people at work, change their lives too. I hear a lot of people say, oh, I can't talk about it at work, it's a conflict of interest. It's never a conflict of interest to show people how they can change their life, how they can get more healthy, and how they can get more fit. So you can do it. I want people to know you can do it. You don't have to do it full-time. You can do it part-time. You can definitely fit it into your life. So write down your priorities, set your goals. Maybe for you it's just one person a month. Doesn't have to be, something that you do 40 hours a week. You can find a way to fit it into your life, whether you're full-time, a student, a parent, whatever it is that you're doing in your life. So.
Well, if you had something you want to add, certainly.
Yeah, I would say your dream. If your dream's big enough, there's definitely a way to manage both easily. I'm military. I retire in July. This is what I'm going to do full-time when that happens. My day is pretty hectic. I leave the house at 5 in the morning, so clearly I'm not calling people at 5 o'clock driving into work. I'm listening to Craig Holiday going in. That's the truth. That's not just because of today. It pumps me up to the point where I can make it through my chaotic work, daily schedule at work. And when I get out of work, the first thing I turn on is my cell phone. And I start calling. And I call, and I got hands-free, so it's safe. And I drive home, and I call, and I just budget. One of my biggest things in the last year was really getting used to using a calendar, and I plan it all out, and just stick to it. It's very simple. We allow life to get us really busy, and we allow, more importantly, other people to try to shift our focuses. Remember, it's your dream, it's your goal, it's you and your family's future, and that should be your top priority.
Absolutely. Tagging off of what Mike was talking about, not only does when he goes and the day is hectic, also my full-time profession is I'm a firefighter. I've been there 21 years. I'm a captain, and what's happened is the higher you go, the more responsibilities you have, and also the more responsibilities you have when you're off duty as well. But for me, my motivation is this. When I go to work, I like to say that I'm covered. But there may be a time you can get into situations where you may not come home. That's my reality. But at the same time, every time I have the opportunity to grasp Beachbody, that's one more day that I could say, you know what, I want to retire. I want to let it go. And I want to do something that's changing lives and affecting lives. So, as Mike was saying, planning out that calendar, that's been something that's really been a focus of mine. So I can get more in, so I can be more effective, so I can put my exit date on the fire department.
Okay, what is your fear and how did you overcome it? Anybody have an example?
So I know Craig talked a lot today about fear of rejection. And I think that everybody in this room can relate to having that fear of rejection. And when you are a Beachbody coach and everybody in your neighborhood starts to know that you're a Beachbody coach, there are a couple things that happen when you walk into your kid's school or when you walk to the grocery store or you go to a football game. People either run as fast as they can and avoid eye contact, avoid talking to you, or they want to come find out from you how they can get involved in the business, how they can get, how they can change their lives. So don't be afraid of rejection. For me, the fear of people not wanting to talk to me or people maybe talking behind my back. Oh, there's that crazy fitness lady. She's always trying to, change somebody's life and get them healthier. It's terrible. I don't want to talk to her. Don't be afraid of being who you are. Be natural. And if people aren't interested, if people aren't ready yet, they'll first of all they're probably going to come around at some point. They're probably going to send somebody to you. Oh yeah, I know just who you need. You should contact. Give Christina a voice call. I think she does that P90X stuff that you see on TV. So don't be afraid for people to just don't be afraid of rejection. It's not personal. It's not ready for it yet.
And they're watching you the whole way. They're watching you on Facebook. I can't even tell you how many people that said no in the beginning, watched us build this business, and came to us the second time.
Talking about that social networking thing. That's a little fear right there. At the same time, just as Craig was sharing, you're sowing significance into people's lives. You don't know who's watching your posts. Keep your posts positive. That was scary for me, just getting into Facebook a couple of years ago. But then I was understanding that that's how people communicate these days. And just continuing to delve there. But if you're doing the right thing, your character, your integrity is strong, you won't have to worry about that. That thing is surprising the mess out of me.
People who are saying, hey, hit me up, send something to my inbox so I can get with whatever you're doing. The next fear and the next step is going to be that video one-on-one, because I see people are kind of clinging to that too. But whatever your comfort zone is, attack your fear.
We're trying to figure out the mic.
1, 2, test.
That's what it is.
I think this battery might be dead. Okay. That's okay. We have another one. I think this is a good one. My biggest obstacle is overcoming financial objections. People are always enthusiastic about the workouts or Shakeology until it comes to buying. How hard do I push, if at all?
It's not about pushing. You are not selling a product. You are sharing it with people who need it. If they don't want it, find someone who does. I don't push Shakeology. I don't sell Shakeology. I don't sell P90X. I don't sell Turbo Fire. I am looking for people who are looking for me. Bottom line. When I walk into a gym, I teach group exercise, like I said, and I present in fitness conferences. I don't walk in looking for someone to sell a product to. I'm looking for people who want to connect, who are looking for someone who can help them move to the next level, whatever that next level is. And if someone objects to the cost of Shakeology, they say, oh, I'm overweight, and I don't like the way this is, and I don't eat right. And I share the product with them, and they say, oh, that's too expensive. I don't challenge it. Okay, well, I may see that they have a $200 pair of shoes on. And I'm not going to call that out. But I talk to them about the pros and the cons. Well, okay, well, maybe I misunderstood you. Maybe you aren't necessarily looking to get healthy. I call it like it is. I'm just not going to beat around the bush. And so, again, I don't push it. I don't sell it. I'm looking for people who want it. If you want it bad enough, you're going to make it happen. And for me, when I want something, I will cross mountains. I will cross Mount Everest to make it happen. And same thing, if it's important to you to be healthy, if it's important for you to live an extra day to be with your family and with your friends, you're going to do what it is that you need to do to get there.
And just to build on that, when the objection does come up, even when people want to become coaches or want to get started on Shakeology, people want to know how much it costs. And they're looking to, sometimes you need to break it down for them and show them what it looks like to be on Shakeology. How much does that cost a day? And how can that fit into your budget? And help people see that it's, as a coach, it's about $3 a day for Shakeology. Because sometimes that monthly cost can, it's $120 a month or $90 a month, or I got to pay a $15 service fee. Just help people see how that can fit into their budget and even save them some money. Ask them, to seriously take a look at their budget and what they're doing now and how much it costs. I know how much it costs to get a personal trainer. And it's, Shakeology it's really easy to help people break down the cost of that so they can see how affordable it is.
I want to let you guys know it is 3 o'clock. I know people have kids, so if you have to leave, we understand, but we don't want to cut this off too quickly because we know there's a lot of other really great questions. So we're going to go for another 10-15 minutes or so with the question panel and then go into the workout. Is everybody okay with that here? We want to respect your time. Okay, cool. I'm actually going to ask each of you, so keep in mind, if each of you can tell us one book that you would suggest, like your favorite book, if you know the author, great. You guys want to think about it while
Favorite book by far, it's actually given to me at Game Plan Training in August over in Bethesda. A lot of you were there. I remember seeing that's the first time I met everybody. Slight Edge.
Mm-hmm.
Slight Edge.
I'll mention one that probably a lot of people haven't heard. It's called Message to Garcia. And it's something that the military uses. It's all about an individual man basically being able to do everything on himself. And I'm currently reading actually what Craig brought up today because when Robert Hudgens tells me to do something, I do it. So the book about telling your story, absolutely go get it because once you start implementing it into your calls or your discussions with people, you'll see the change.
I think the one that I revisit is the one that Christina had made mention of, the Slight Edge. I'm kind of thinking about another book that was also in there. I'm trying to remember the author as well. I think it's a John Maxwell books. I think it's something that was mentioned earlier today. But the combination of those books, the Slight Edge it covers so many aspects of your life. If you just take a look at it, it's almost like from day one, it's like, wow, why didn't anyone show that to me? And that's the kind of book that I start reading with my teenagers as well. So they can start making some decisions on their lives and it just impacts so many things.
I had so many and I had to kind of go through the ones in my head, but one that I recommend and I love is called The Compound Effect. If you haven't read that one, that is a great book because Craig talked about it. It's about the consistency. It's the small things that you do every day that compounds, that takes you to that next level. He said take those 24 months, and working it every day and you'll build the type of business that you want. So Compound Effect, good book. Oh yeah, Eat That Frog.
This is actually another one that I would love to hear quickly from each of you. How often do you communicate with your active, meaning active in the business, downline coaches? Do you have a general rule of thumb? Weekly, bi-weekly, monthly? Never?
Personally sponsored, but if you have something else to share. As often as they like, as often as they're willing to engage. I'm always available, my coaches, they know that, via text or by phone. We do our weekly calls, and I commit to that. Whether I have one person on there or nobody on my call, I'm there every week to that. And so my coaches know that. And so those coaches that want to move forward and are willing to really work their business know that they can contact me anytime. And I get so many people say, "Oh, you're so busy. I know you have 2 kids and you have this and you have that," but they know I'm going to be there for them. So as often as they need me to be. I would say, as a general rule of thumb, and I work with a lot of my coaches in depth too, not just my personally sponsored. I like to touch base with my coaches at least every other day. Those who are really, really serious about their business, and they all know that. Of course, they know I'm busy, but they all have my cell phone number. Everybody in my business has my cell phone number. Everyone in their downline. Make sure I touch base with every single coach in the business at least once a week. But they do have my phone, and they text me, call me anytime. With whatever that they need some help. So
I expect, and I know that's pretty hard terminology for some people, but I expect to hear from my personal coaches every single week. They know it because I've already told them, and then when they don't talk to me and I don't know what's going on, I call them. So that's my expectation with my personal sponsors. However, my vision goes well beyond my personal sponsored coaches. And on my weekly calls that I host a webinar weekly, and I tell my downline, hey, you want time with me, call me. Let's talk about what's going on. So I would say once a week minimum for my personal sponsors. And if you looked at my organization on a chart, the people who I have to follow up with are the people who are not performing. So it's a very simplistic system when you set that tone from the beginning of the whole, hey, we're running a business kind of deal, and kind of set your expectations. And then, more importantly, you go and support them in everything that you told them you were going to support them in. You know what? They're going to call you, and they're going to keep you on track. So
It's pretty consistent as well. Once a week. Try to also schedule your time around that as well. My schedule has a tendency to flip-flop a little bit, so it's kind of hard to do that and be in the middle of running a call, and then all of a sudden it's time for coach call. But as well, I also run a weekly call, covering all the coaches in the downline. But at the same time, growing and learning your coaches about giving them an assignment and charting that assignment along the way, what you're doing to help that coach grow, giving them challenges, because they can talk sociably with anybody. They can get on Facebook and talk sociably with anybody, and you'll see it. And you'll see, well, why couldn't you check in or do blah, blah, blah? I was on Facebook, whatever. Challenge them to sharpen up their tool as well, their schedule.
Okay, actually, Christina, this is for you, given that you are a 2-coach household, yeah? Okay. How do you blend the differences of style, weaknesses, and strengths when there's a 2-coach household?
Interestingly enough, Neil, my husband, was actually asked to be up on this panel as well, and he chose to video instead. So that kind of gives you an example. I think that every power couple I meet in this business, Pete and Sue Pena, are a wonderful example of that. They each have their strengths, and they work with, there's certain personalities that I work really well with, and certain personalities that Neil works really well with. If you look at our businesses, you'll see that Neil has most of the females in his business, and I have mostly males in my business. It just kind of works that way. And we build our businesses very differently. We use the same system that's that's been provided to us, but we just kind of communicate with everybody differently. So.
If everyone can hear me, I was going to say then also something that Craig talked about is that when we first got involved with Beachbody in particular, because as an OPEN and P90X2 and everything, there were time periods where I would get, just like when you have a new child, I would get a little jealous and say man, these guys are sucking you dry. You're spending all your time with the team and, and building and stuff like that. But then, like Craig said, I kind of realized that the world kind of needs me. People need me. I had to get out of myself, get out of my own way and say, because people actually need us. People who actually will benefit from speaking with us. So just getting out of the me, and thinking more like, let my spouse do this. You know, let them do this. Let them spend some time and do something that's going to help someone else. Ultimately, it's going to help us, definitely. But learning that it's actually going to help the greater good, more people. And if I know in my heart what I'm doing is actually right and helping other people, no problem.
I wanted to speak on this as well. My husband is one of my coaches. He's my Emerald. He's one of my Emerald coaches. And I wanted to kind of touch on the other piece. He's very supportive, but he's not as actively in the business. As you see, he's not here. He's actually watching the kids because we couldn't get a babysitter. But he's super supportive of what I do, and he is supportive of what Beachbody has to offer. But he's not comfortable. He's not comfortable necessarily sharing the business with people. So we figure out what our strengths are with the business. Like, I love talking to people. I love connecting with people. That's what I love to do. So he may find people that are interested. He's better with the kind of the ins and outs of kind of documents and making sure websites and stuff are good. And then he will pass them on to me. Honey, I have someone who wants to get some more information about Shakeology. So in the beginning, I will say, for those of you who are passionate about your business and your spouse isn't quite on board, don't push it. You can't force them to get on board with you. And I think I've spoken to Craig about this. Like, how do I get him to see it? You know, and I'm still trying to get him to see it. But I've had to let that go and allow him to support me in the best way that he can and what's comfortable for him. And so we figure out what our strengths are, and we put those two heads together, and I think we make a great team in that way versus me trying to force him to do it the way I do it or to tell him that the way he's doing it is wrong. I mean, for example, he just ran a challenge at his office. He works for the Department of Homeland Security. But he did a fitness challenge at his office, totally different than how I would have done it. But he did it, you know, so I commend him for doing it and actually stepping out and doing it his way and what was going to make him feel more comfortable. Because I think the more I pushed him to do it my way, it didn't work for him. So allow your spouse to find their strengths, find their way, just like every coach runs their business differently. Same thing in a household. You're going to run it differently.
And I would actually also like to ask Derek if he would answer that same question.
Thanks. Kind of just got dropped on me all of a sudden. I'm a 3-star diamond coach, and Kim is a diamond coach as well, so we have the same kind of thing going on. But for a couple of years, we have butted heads about this because, you know, we have a system in place, and I'm very choleric, and so I'm like, just do it this way. If that's the way you do it, why are you doing it differently? And it really took my brother-in-law stepping up and saying, you guys need to open your eyes to each other's strengths and weaknesses, find out what works for you and what works for her, because it's not the same, and it's not your business and her business have to be the exact same. They don't have to be the exact same. It's your couple's business together. And like they've all said, like Neil and Christina said, you know, find out what works best for one person and the other person, and then support each other. You know, and as Janelle said, you know, maybe your spouse is not 100% on board with it, but if they have that support, that's vital as well. If you have somebody who's a saboteur at home who's going to, you know, cut your business out from under you or anything, you really just need to tell them, hey, all I need is your support. I don't need you to be 100% in this business with me. I don't need you to do it exactly like I do or anything like that. I just need you to support me on that. So that's what, even if you've got 2 coaches in the same house, if one's not on the same level as the other, just ask for their support. Ask them to be supportive and help you along with it. And as Craig has taught so many people, your birth date and your start date are not always the same, and that might be the same for your spouse. You know, they may be a coach just to support you for 2 years, but then all of a sudden something happens and they go, hey, I'm really ready to get up off the bench and get in the game. You know, so be open and ask for that support. And if you are working, as I said, together, sit down and really talk about it. There's another great book that I had suggested to me is called The Success Principles. And one of the things it teaches is called a heart talk. and you sit down and you talk to each other, and whoever has, you can use any kind of a prop, but whatever the prop is, whoever has that prop, the other person has to listen. They're not allowed to speak until that, the other person gets, the person with the prop gets done speaking. Get all of the things out that need to be said without any kind of emotional back and forth, and figure out what your priorities are, where you guys both want your businesses to go, so that you're both on the same team and the same timeline and everything else. Shalene Johnson talks about that too. She talks about making sure that your spouse knows what your priorities in your life are. Because you might think that your spouse understands and knows that, this is the person you live with, this is the person you've been with. You can say anything in the world to this person. That's what being a spouse is. But you also have to understand that anything that you say to them is taken more to heart than what anybody else says. So you need to be on the same page with this stuff. Be open about your goals. Be open about how you're doing this. Understand that it's not always going to be done the same, and work together on that to build with your strengths and weaknesses.
Great advice, guys. Okay, so this is
Whatever doesn't get answered here today, we can post them on our page and continue the discussion there and have people kind of join in on conversation.
That's a great idea. Okay. So, the last question. Would any of you have input for someone in their early 20s who often finds that their passion and energy for this business is perceived as a little overzealous or naive by older friends, coworkers, family, and how could they relate to these people more effectively?
First of all, if you're in your 20s and you're in this business, congratulations. That is awesome. You are light years beyond your peers. So congratulations to you. And I can tell you that even when you're in your 30s and 40s, people are still going to perceive you in this business as overzealous and, oh, there she goes, here she comes, or here he comes, that, crazy P90X or some network marketing scheme. So know that you're not, that's sort of the personality. That's not unusual for people to perceive that. And you just want to turn that zealousness, you want to be bold. You want to make a statement. And there's going to be people who are going to be attracted to you because of your boldness and your statement. So my advice to you is continue to be bold. You don't want to be, you don't want to certainly scare people or be obnoxious, but you do want to be bold and make a statement. I think that's a wonderful thing.
I think one thing that can be shared to kind of bring that generation gap back into focus, if you have any aunts, any uncles, any parents, any grandparents that had to deal with the latter stages of their life in any kind of hospice, any kind of debilitated disease kind of related situation, that's what you represent, you as a younger generation. And once you're able to start to share that, they understand that there's a reason behind it. I'm trying to do a better job of taking care of you as you progress in your older years. So it's not about me being just all excited about it. There's a reason, there's a cause that it makes sense. So therefore, as soon as you start tapping to that, trust me, that generation that hits that 35 and up, things start changing in this body that you used to do in your 20s. But if they get a good program going on, they can re-engage in that again.
We want to give a little input on that as well, and then we're going to do a quick group photo before the workout. I am in my 20s. I didn't write that question, but I did want to share, and I'm not going to share my coach's age because I don't know if she'd be happy with me, because she definitely doesn't look it. But Lee and I probably would never have been friends, and she's become one of my best friends. She's my mentor. She sponsored me in this business. I absolutely love her. She's like a family member to me. Her kids are like my nieces and nephews. It's crazy. And she lives in Arizona. We talk every single day, and there's a big age gap. And who cares? There is no age gap. There is no age difference in this business.
because we all have the same goals, and that's really what it comes down to. And you start to learn that you connect with people, and there are things that are bigger than that. So you'll learn not to let the age thing stand in your way. I have to tell you, a lot of my customers are a heck of a lot older than me, and you might look at that as something that's hard to relate to, but it's not, because people have goals. Maybe they're going through things in their life that you can't relate to, but then find somebody on your team that can, and put them in touch. That's why we have a team, and that's why it's bigger than just us. That's what Beachbody is all about. So if you keep that in mind, the age thing is not something that should hold you back.
Tack on a little bit onto that. I mean, if you go to a huge Beachbody event like Summit or anything like that, and you walk in there as a 20-year-old, you may feel a little weird about talking to someone that's older than you or more successful, but honestly, if you just open the door, these people are, like we're saying, we're going out there, we're trying to build relationships. They don't give a crap how old you are. They care about you as an individual. And if you exude that, it doesn't matter who you're talking to. I could be talking to someone that's 60. If I honestly care about what that individual wants and is looking for, he's not going to care that I'm my age. And when we come together, like with Derek and everyone else, and we got people in the 20s and people older than that, no one cares. It doesn't. Yeah, we goof off and whatever, it doesn't matter. No one cares. But you have to take it back to what Craig was saying. That person has this filter that says, Chris is being overzealous. Chris is buying into this thing that is just ridiculous. How does he think he's going to make a full-time income based off of this MLM? That's what they're seeing. But your filter has to be different, and you cannot let that filter start to get into yours. Because if they see that what they're saying negatively about you is starting to poke holes in what you believe, you're proving them right. And if they're saying you're naive, and you start to let it seep into there, you're going to start, those negative words start chomping at you. Maybe I am naive. No, you're not. And you have to believe it with conviction. And it has to come from inside of you. You don't have to be 40 to be able to help someone that's 60. There's no age requirement on us giving someone what they need, right? It's just, all you need is that real, genuine desire to help. And when people see that you're going out and doing that, you're building success, you're building a good team, you're helping people change their lives, they'll come back to you and they'll say, I'm sorry, I doubted you, but I need some help. Whatever they're saying to you, you cannot change what you're doing. You have to stay strong. You got to keep the integrity, like Craig is talking about. If you're going to be a leader, you cannot let those things dent you. You just can't. Period. So, whatever age, doesn't matter. It's all about your intent, your purpose. So keep that strong. Keep it inside of you. Protect it with everything you have, because the world is going to attack it, right? Yeah, the world will attack it. But these people, the people here, people that are here today with you, we are the ones that are going to be there right behind you, holding you up. So if someone attacks you and you feel a little shaky, contact someone, please. Yeah. Contact someone, please. Don't wallow in, be like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. Get a hold of someone and say, I need something. And then that instinct is going to pop up, like, someone needs me. Like Craig was saying, you don't have a choice, you've got to be there for them. And then when someone comes to you that day, that fateful day, you're going to jump on that horse too. I got you, let's do this. Okay? So it's all about, you can't control what they think about you. You have to protect what you think about yourself, and what you think about this, and what we do, and about each other. Okay? That's what I had to say. We're going to take a big group picture. Yes, so thank you guys so much.